Hey guys, today I'm going to be showing you a couple of low-level gun setups for the Krig 6. With gun leveling being so slow, it's important to be able to create an effective setup with the first few attachments that you unlock, and you need to know which playstyles work best with the gun that you're using. First, we're going to talk about the Krig's base stats to get an understanding of how to get the most out of its attachments we put on. Starting with its strength, it has the best accuracy stats in the assault rifle class. Using the in-game detailed statistics, we can see compared to all the other ARs it has considerably less vertical recoil, joint best horizontal recoil, and by far the lowest centering speed in the game. I just want to add that the accuracy stats in game do seem pretty arbitrary, as if you're looking at a single gun, you'll have absolutely no idea say what the recoil pattern would look like from the values that they give, but they are useful for comparing multiple guns, giving us a rough idea of how they stack up against each other. The Krig's excellent handling stats, coupled with joint highest bullet velocity in class and joint longest damage range in the game, makes it ideal for medium range fights. The bullet velocity is a key component of this, as a lot of people have been finding hit registration to be inconsistent at longer ranges, but this may be down to guns having lower bullet velocities, meaning that targets move before the bullets have reached them. But with the Krig, I've not found this to be an issue at any of the ranges that you commonly find in the base multiplayer, making the gun basically hit scan. Now, let's go on to the weaknesses, and there is a big one. The Krig has the worst time to kill of all the automatic weapons in the game, although there is one saving grace that I'll get to later. Just to quickly clarify, when I'm talking about the time to kill of different guns, I'll be comparing the value within each of the gun's lowest effective damage range, and not taking into consideration damage drop-offs just to keep things simple. Even with the second highest damage in the AR class at 35, it still takes 5 body shots to kill, and with an average fire rate of 652 rounds per minute, it has a time to kill of 368 milliseconds. This being said, things get a lot more interesting when you add a single headshot into the equation. Of the ARs, only the Krig and the FFAR benefit from one less shot to kill when incorporating a headshot. So now if we look at the time to kill stats including a single headshot, the Krig jumps up to second in the TTK list, just behind the FFAR. When you consider this, you realise just how potent this gun can be, especially at medium ranges where the low recoil helps you stay on target and makes it considerably easier to hit the single headshot you need to make the gun a match for any other. Comparing it to a gun in Modern Warfare, I have to say it's most like the M13. Now we know exactly what this gun is about, we can start to have a look at some of the setups that can help us get the most out of it. I'm going to be showing you a couple of setups for the Krig, one to further reduce the accuracy stats, making the gun even more of a laser, and perfect for mid-range engagements, and a second snappier build for more close range to medium style. In these builds I'm only going to be using gun attachments you gain up to level 19, at which point you'll have unlocked at least 2 attachments in each category, and that should only take you an hour or 2 of game time. Of course, the stronger attachments are unlocked later in the gun's progression, but to get to that point we want to make the gun as strong as possible to help us level it up quicker. So for the first setup there are 3 essential attachments, and then I'll discuss the possible ways of filling out the remaining 2. Also, I've not included any setups with 8 attachments using the Gunfighter wildcard, as you'll get much more use out of any other wildcard when you don't have all the best attachments unlocked for the gun yet. The 3 essential attachments for this build are the Muzzle Brake 556, reducing vertical recoil by 4%, the foregrip reducing horizontal recoil by 15%, and whichever sight you're most comfortable with. This will give you a slightly better target acquisition at the medium ranges you'll be using this gun at. Personally, I tend to go for some form of red dot. Just to show that these attachments actually make a difference, I've got the recoil patterns for the base gun and with these attachments on, shot from 20 meters away with no recoil control, just for an easier comparison. For the other 2 attachments, I prefer to use the 16.5 ultralight barrel to increase the strafe speed by 5%, coupled with the tactical stock to increase aim walking speed by 20%. These 2 attachments work nicely together, allowing you slightly more manoeuvrability during long-range gunfights, with that extra bit of speed allowing you to duck in and out of cover more quickly. This makes the enemy's job of tracking you at longer ranges as difficult as possible. This being said, you could replace either of these with the speed tape handle to decrease your aim down sight speed by 10% for a slightly snappier aiming experience if you plan on repositioning frequently. Other than this though, I wouldn't recommend any of the body or magazine attachments in this build. As we're trying to use this gun in medium range fights, you should be able to get back into cover whenever you need to reload, meaning you don't need a larger mag or a faster reload. In terms of the body attachments, the laser doesn't decrease the hipfire spread enough to make it worthwhile using, and you're much better served ADSing in close range situations, and I've not found any benefit from using the mounted flashlight. As you said at the Krig, to excel in medium range fights, I'd recommend using a shotgun as a secondary, so if the enemy team do decide to rush you, you can actually take them out. Or you could even use the Lawbreaker perk to allow you to carry an SMG as a fallback. I'll now show you a few in-game clips with this setup, just to give you an idea of how I like to play with it. If you want to move straight to the next setup, use the timestamps below.
Throwing C4 charge.
Artillery awaiting target coordinates.
For the second setup, we're focusing on improving the Krig's closer range capabilities, allowing us to play more aggressively. As we know, the Krig has some of the best accuracy stats in the game, so if we improve its weaker areas, we'll create a more overall balanced weapon, effective at both short and medium ranges. To create this kind of weapon, we can ignore the low-level optics, muzzle and barrel attachments, as they aren't much help in this situation. First, we'll add the wire stock, decreasing our sprint to fire time by 10%. This, coupled with the speed tape handle, which reduces our ADS time by 10%, helps us transition from moving to firing accurately as quick as possible. Next, we'll add on whichever magazine attachment suits your playstyle better. I prefer the jungle mags for a faster reload, but use whichever you're most comfortable with. As we're going to be repositioning more with this setup, it's also important to add the infiltrator grip. This increases your movement speed, shooting movement speed, and aim walking movement speed all by 5%. And finally, we'll round out the setup by using the steady aim laser to reduce our hipfire spread by 20%. If you're setting your gun up in this way, you're much more likely to be up close and personal with the enemy team. So the relatively small decrease in hipfire spread this attachment gives can be the difference between winning and losing a super close range gunfight. And I'll show you a few clips in game with this setup just to give you an idea of how I like to play with it. If you want to just move straight to the conclusion, use the timestamps below.
Enemy losing C.
Arming C4.
Securing A.
Overall, the Krig is a pretty well balanced weapon, which you can definitely have some decent games with. Its low recoil makes it a laser at medium ranges, especially if you kit it out correctly. And if you do manage to hit that single headshot, it has an excellent time to kill all the way up to 50 meters. It benefits from a slower playstyle, so make sure you position yourself in areas where most of the gunfights that you'll be taking are at medium range, and you'll easily be able to outclass many of the rifles and SMGs in the game. If you've been using the Krig in game, make sure to put your favourite setup in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. I'll have more gun guides coming out in the near future. Thanks for watching.